And I want to take you along as we look at the media player, specifically the WAV file player and maybe even the MIDI player. We'll have to see how far we get and what I've prepared for you. Maybe I'll also show you something that's already there. Shall we just get started? I have an empty rack space here, and now I'm going into my wiring, which is always where we start. Then here I have, as you can see, audio in, my audio out. That's my Scarlett 18i8 USB interface. I have a MIDI in Omni and my MIDI in my 73 key keyboard, which I do not need right now. For the first step, if I right click here now, I see down here, media player, I have an audio file player and a MIDI file player, and today I want to focus on the audio file player. I'll just open that up now and we can see a few things you can do here. Here we see single and multi, then we see loop here. We have a go to the beginning button, a play pause button, sync with global playhead. That's for when you have multiple ones. I can here load an entire folder if I want, and I can have a metronome play here. Let's just get started now. We can activate the functionality for the delay right here. This setting is always just one when we are in single mode, but in multi-mode we can turn on several different ones. If I want to have several active at once, I can click on the small arrow icon located right here. I'll just do that now. I've already prepared something for that. I have my songs here in a folder. Today I'd like to demonstrate everything to you with Ain't Nobody. Now I have the click here. I've also written the tempo next to it. 104 isn't that relevant now because we're getting the click from here and everything is synced to it. But if, for example, I had a MIDI kick, it would be good to know. Then I could set the MIDI kick to 104 and have it run in sync. That's what's connected here now. Here I can immediately see the level when I press play. The click starts a little later in this case. It doesn't start right from the beginning. Then I can still change the volume here and I can set it to one shot here. That way the whole thing is only played once. Now there's no sound. First I'll press record down here so that it actually gets recorded. But mainly there's no sound because I haven't connected anything here. So I could connect the MIDI in, then I could also control the device directly with my MIDI keyboard. Now the click is in there. Pretty simple. That's my master track. You can see it here as well. Master lane is the lane with the longest file. Now let's just load in the second one. Why you have to go back in there again? That's a good question. Let's do it differently this time. I'll just delete this here now. And as I mentioned, I can load a complete file here, meaning I can load an entire folder. So let's do that now. Namely here, songs in Nobody, and then I click open. And now it has loaded all of them at once. Loaded them in. Now I press play. And then it already starts playing. Of course, I'm not going to leave it like that. Let everything run. I also play it myself, but if I'm not there as the keyboardist, the band can still play it like this just fine. Now I have the option here to adjust the volume of each individual track. For example, if I want to play the part myself or just want to tweak something that I didn't have before. So I can also mute the entire track here. It's actually really simple, like this. Then here you can also see how many samples or how much time the waveform needs and where exactly we are at the moment. So this value keeps changing. Now I'll close the whole thing, and what's still interesting now is this. Now of course I want to control the whole thing in some way. For that I've prepared a rack panel. I'll just show it to you here. Just take this very straightforward example right here. Here you can also see that in addition to the audio file player, I have a MIDI file player here. For example, I have a MIDI kick running here. With some audio files, I have an audio kick. That's simply due to how I used to do things. And with a few, I have a MIDI kick, which I personally find more practical, because if we then leave out the backing and have tempo changes, we can handle it very easily this way. So of course, it's important to me that you can start both things. At the same time, for that I go to the panel here and have set up 4 buttons for myself. Let's go into edit mode and take a look at what we've done there. Here we have a button called Start Backing. With that I go into the audio plugin File Player, then Play from Beginning. This is important because if I've already started the backing and it's at a different position, this way I'm sure it always starts from the beginning with a new song. There's also just play pause, which starts and stops the backing. And the next time it continues playing from that spot. I control the whole thing here with this connection. 1. Remember, note on E3, channel 1. Or rather, I'll just click over here directly now. I control this button with the same command, but here it's the MIDI MIDI file player and there play. Unfortunately, it can only play. It can't start from the beginning, but in this case, that's not a big deal because a click is always the same everywhere as long as it starts. Then I have two stop buttons here, which also use E3 channel 1 via the same, are controlled by Klopp, so one for the master and here for the audio file player. But here I have play pause because that's just pause. I don't think there's actually a stop. We can take a quick look. There really isn't anything else. And for the melee reverse, I have this here again. Play was also stop at the same time. At this point, something like this is really interesting. Of course, you can control several things. Let's go through the file player here now. We can set the plugin to bypass. We can open the editor. Here, play pause, play from beginning, play from marker. I haven't needed that so far, but you can definitely use it too. You can switch loop on off. You can change the position via a widget. The button might not be the right thing to use. You could use the rotary knob. The click generator can be turned on and off. Single multiplay mode is possible and you can then start the lanes individually. And with the one shot, you can simply let 1 or 2 bars of music run through, and I can change the volume and the output assignment. Alright, file name isn't that important now, and the length isn't that important either. And here, with the MIDI player, things are a bit different. Here I can select the song number. I'll show that again in a moment. I can skip forward and backward here. And also control a few things. I actually haven't used those yet. I'd have to look up what exactly they do. So now I'll go back into the wiring here, into, for example, the MIDI file player. And here you can see that you can load various songs into this MIDI file player. It might also make sense to put it into the global rec space. I haven't tried that yet because with the programming, or rather wiring it up, just seemed too much effort, and I only use it for 2, 3, maybe 4 songs anyway. I'll go over to the audio file player once more. I think we've covered everything here now. If we click on the 3 dots here, we can again load a Geek Performer user preset. Load or save user preset. It's the same here as well. I've already saved this before. I could just use that and the rest isn't really that important. And that's how you can easily get a backing track into your Geek Performer.